All right, it's showtime. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of 27 Outs Live. I, of course, am Ivan alongside Stefan, and we are here tonight as we bring you the start of a brand new month, right? Like, I know today is June 2nd, yesterday being the first, but listen, to me, it's the start of a brand new month. Shout out to everyone who showed us a tremendous amount of love, I must say, on last week's show in honor of Memorial Day. I think Stefan and I had a lot of fun doing that. But also, not only the people who were viewing the show live, right? But after the fact, because, as I always say, not everybody is actually able to catch the show live. But the good thing is you get to catch it live or whenever the hell you want, if that's what you need, right? Because
There you
that's what
go.
Stefan and I are here for. As I like to start off the top of the shows lately, not going to get into too much, but there is one particular thing that I do want to get into. Shout out to you, D-Rails. I see you there already in the comment section. Thank you for
Yep,
stopping by
yep.
early.
What's up,
So
brother?
as you guys can tell, we have a couple of things to get into. Obviously, the Dodgers, the Royals. Hopefully Shrek is here tonight. I'd love to hear what he has to say about that, and some other things. As always, as the show goes on, we like to, talk about other things that aren't necessarily a part of the title, the description. But one thing that I do want to start tonight off with is, a quick thank you. Right. So as I mentioned, we are officially in June now, the start of a brand new month for all of us, but specifically here on 27 Outs, because last month, and Stefan and I were talking about this briefly earlier today, you guys helped us out in a huge way, right? Like, you guys are obviously not paying attention to the numbers how we do behind the scenes. But I'm just going to put this out there. The reason why Stefan and I want to thank you guys before we get into anything, right, is because you guys helped us reach 18,000 views on the channel for the month of May. I
Me?
mean, that's a pretty big deal. We're talking about a channel in 27 Outs being, only has 204 subscribers as we bring tonight's show to you live.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't get discouraged by that stuff, right? Because the one thing that we've noticed is as the months go by, the numbers have been, skyrocketing, especially when it comes to views, not
Yeah.
only on YouTube, but on other platforms, right? We like to remind you guys to check us out on Instagram, check us out on Twitter, check us out on TikTok, especially. But the reason why I mentioned May is because April, you guys helped us reach, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say it was around like 12K views. Even that was a big deal, right? Because once upon a time, cracking a couple thousand was something that was hard for us to do.
Yeah.
But now, thankfully, and I know Stefan, I say this also on behalf of you as well. We do that sometimes in a matter of days. And
Yeah.
these are things that we saw happening beforehand. And it just so happens to be that we finally have gotten to that point in real time. So yeah, we had 12,000 of you view the channel in May, excuse me. And then, as I mentioned, 12,000 in April,
Mhm.
18,000 in May. So if you guys are hearing that correctly,
That's
that's
30,000 in 2 months. That's crazy.
yes, 30,000 in 2 months.
That's
In 2 months is crazy. I didn't do it. I didn't do it
crazy.
that way. Now that you mentioned it, Stefan, that is crazy. But in comparison, between the 2 months, we're looking at an increase of 6,000 viewers in a matter of 30 days,
That's crazy.
which is pretty insane.
Shout to y'all.
Um, so
That's
yeah, we obviously have some goals, some milestones that we would like to reach for the month of June, and who knows, maybe we could get to 20K, 25K, who knows, right? But it all starts with the first show here in June, and then we'll see where it takes us from there. Stefan, how are you feeling? I know the weekend didn't really
wow.
end how you wanted it to, but aside from that, get the party started.
I'm good, brother. I mean, we'll get into this in the end, but what it shows you is sometimes you just gotta take stock of where you are. Just like the channel in life, I'm taking stock where I am with my sports teams. Speaking of taking stock, the Yankees took stock of themselves this weekend, and they've been good against 500 teams. They have a 11-6 record against teams that are 500. So while it may not be crazy, they are beating the teams they're supposed to beat. Although the Los Angeles Dodgers, and let me make one thing abundantly clear, that's what champions do. Banged up, the roster's nowhere near 100%, and they still found a way to let you know, hey, we them dudes. And when it comes to this October thing, you're going to have to see us, right?
Right.
And as big a Yankee fan as I am, I found myself saying, you know what? That's how you do it. That's how a message is sent. Because the Dodgers know, listen, the Dodgers know the Yankees are gunning for them. They know they see the Tigers in the American League with the best record in the American League. So they know what's happening. They're not sitting there with their head in the sand. What I will tell you is, and this gets me excited, this gets me really excited, is the idea that the Dodgers are going to be the team that no matter what happens, we're going to unfairly put a microscope on them, no matter how well they play. But I want to say this for the record. Is this a new viewer? What's up, bro? You
I
new
know
in
who that
here?
is. That's
Oh,
actually
okay.
my brother-in-law. Yeah,
So
shout out to you, Junior.
I'm not listen, I'm very excited with the idea that listen, the Yankees got some work to do. As good as they've been, as good as judges, they got some work to do. And sometimes you need these early season barometer matchups to kind of get you going in the right direction to let you know, hey, this is where we got to get better. This is where we got to improve. I will say this, and we don't usually do this on the show, but I'm going to do it tonight, and I want your opinion on this. I had one issue with something Aaron Boone did this weekend, and that was not starting Carlos Rodon in that Dodgers series. Like, this is why you paid him the big bucks. This is why he is who he is. Max Free got the ball, and the Dodgers did what they do. Right? They did what they do. They roughed them up a little bit. You got into a little bit of a battle, and they won the battle. But all in all, listen, the Yankees showed you outside of Saturday, because Saturday, Will Warren, I thought the game sped up on him real quick. He couldn't really find his footing. But Rodon got to make one of those starts.
Right.
As good as Ryan Yarborough and Will Warren have been, you got to go, hey, big fella, you got to get the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Especially with the way he's been performing this year, right? I know on last week's show I said something about like this being the year of the lefties, and some of you might disagree. I wouldn't really go that far, but Carlos Rodon has been doing the damn thing this year.
He's been
Knowing
pitching
that Cole
amazing.
is out, knowing that you got Max Fried, but you're gonna need somebody else to be up there alongside him.
Yep.
And I hear you say this, and it's like, damn, it makes all the sense in the world, because this has been Carlos Rodon at his best, I must say, wearing the Yankee uniform.
Like, this is, listen, and you're going to think I'm crazy for this. He's pitching like this because he got his beard back. Some dudes just,
Yeah.
I'm dead serious.
Right.
He's pitching like that. Yo, this dude looks like White Sox vintage, I got my beard back. I'm feeling myself. I look like how I was supposed to look. Some dudes just don't look good, clean shaven. They don't perform well. Just something about their because how you look and how you feel is how you play.
That's
Right?
true. I mean, there's a saying that a lot of people go by. When you look good, you feel
You
good.
play good. Yeah,
Right.
right. So, for example, let's just use us as the example. I got a shape up before the show started.
Right. And I finally got a haircut after a month. Shit.
Right.
Shout out to y'all.
So when you look good, you perform better, right?
Yeah.
Because you start to feel like, you know what? I'm on my bullshit today. I'm feeling myself. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I really think that when you start to give the guys the freedom to be who they are, to grow the beard, to be themselves, this is the result you get. Because I feel like this year, Carlos Rodon is finally starting to feel comfortable with the idea that, yo, I'm a Yankee. I'm that dude, and you can't do nothing about it. And I really love the idea that I want to see him pitch against the best. So if I had one tactical question, it would be, yeah, Aaron Boone, Will Warren, bro? Will Warren? You got a day off Monday. What are we doing throwing that kid to the wolves like that? the Dodgers were probably looking at him like, "Oh, we scoring 12 runs today, easy,"
Yeah.
and he
And
scored damn near 20.
right. I was gonna say too, the Dodgers took 2 out of 3, from the Yankees. And the top to top it all off, I must say that was without Blake Snell, that was
Right,
without Tyler Glass now,
right,
that
yep.
was without Roki Sasaki.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is without having this starting rotation. I mean, we must say,
Well,
right?
well,
The only guy I would say who in this series is probably not probably, but is going to be there all along is what? Yamamoto, maybe, right?
and the Yankees lit him up Sunday night.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yankees gave him the business last night. And look, what this shows you is the Dodgers are who we thought they were, and I don't worry about them. I'm not concerned with them. They start a big series against the Mets tonight in Los Angeles, so I'm very intrigued to see what that looks like. But
Two tough
look,
matchups, by the way. Major League Baseball set something up lovely for them, but we'll
no,
see.
but that's how you know if you can compete. And listen, they can show you they can compete. Like the one thing I will say from the Yankees' perspective is they lost the 2 games, but boy, watching that lineup compete Friday night and then watch it compete Sunday night, I'm like, this lineup can hang with any team in baseball. This lineup is very well constructed. They catch the ball. They don't make mistakes. They don't commit errors. They're very well put together. The only thing I will say is I kind of think Boone has this thing where he plays with the lineup a bit too much in terms of, you sit a guy that just went 4 for 4. Like I kind of don't get that. Let the hot guy play. You know what I'm saying? But listen, all in all, I thought it lived up to the hype. How about Judge going bridge first at bat, and then Otani like, okay, you can do that here. Let's go. See ya. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? I was like, okay, now we have something here. Look, I'm not saying that we're setting ourselves up for a World Series preview, which could possibly be likely because
Mm-hmm.
I think the Tigers, I think the Mets, I think the Phillies, I think certain teams are going to have something to say about that potential rematch. But if we get another rematch of this and these two teams are both at full strength, I'm not mad at it.
Right. I mean, sign me up for that, right?
Sign me up.
Not only as a Yankee fan, but just as a baseball fan, more importantly, because
Yeah.
I mean, these are really the top two matchups, I would say, right?
Right. And also look, I think what we also have to realize is that the Dodgers kind of they just kind of they're working their way through this, if that makes sense. Like you could see them kind of like feeling their way through the season. Freddie's still trying to find his way through. Otani's Otani at this point. You're just like
He's
you're,
starting to get warm. He's
yeah,
starting to get warm. Yeah.
you're putting the fourth MVP already on his you're already putting his name on the MVP trophy. But listen, look, this is how much we take these guys for granted. Shohei Ohtani's 2 bullpens away from throwing in a big league. Like he's like 4 bullpens away from throwing in a big league game.
Do you think we see him maybe late June or maybe perhaps July?
Probably July, end of July,
July.
or end of July maybe. But like even watching him throw a bullpen from the footage they show, this guy looks like he's like you see the hitters up there like I'm glad he's on my team that I don't got to go up against this dude for at bats in the hell no.
Yeah. And I
And
know he's been waiting for this moment too, right? Because listen,
itching,
it's been a
itching.
long time since we last seen Otani pitch, right? So the fact that he's able to actually see guys in the box yet again, and
Yeah.
not only is that a positive for him, but for the Dodgers, right? Like just a couple minutes ago, I mentioned some of the guys who the Dodgers are without, and they're still doing their thing, right? And listen, the Dodgers, they showed us last season. They're gonna do it either with all hands on deck or without. They just know how to find a way to get the job done. And it would not surprise me if come October, right? Come the, let's say the Dodgers make it to the World Series yet again, because that is my pick in terms of who's going to represent the National League this year in the World Series yet
I
again.
agree with you. Yeah, you're right.
But it would not surprise me if they are without a guy or two, or maybe
Yeah.
even three, right? And they still somehow, some way end up not only making it to the NLCS, but of course to the World Series.
So can I ask a question to you in the chat? Because I've been thinking about this question for a little while because I kind of want to relate it to something else happening in baseball, more so the National League, right? Like, do you get the sense that the Dodgers are just trying to bite their time and be like, all right, man, we're not where we want to be yet, but we don't really have to worry about getting there yet? And the reason why I'm saying this is I wonder if the Dodgers experiment, right, with, I know you want to build Otani up as a starter, but I wonder if they experiment with him coming out of the bullpen. I'm going to mention it again because I
Right.
mentioned it earlier, in the off season, and now it's become a topic of conversation. See, folks, when we talk on this show, some of the shit I say is outrageous. He's laughing because he knows it's true.
They know too, not just me, but for those of you who have been around long enough, I'm sure they probably had, a moment or two where they thought like,
Some of the
what the
shit,
hell are these guys talking about right
some
now?
of the shit we say is outrageous. I will admit that. Full stipulate, full stop, Your Honor. Some of the shit we say is outrageous. By the way, the Rockies won their 10th game of the year. Shout to them.
Yeah, shout out to
But
them.
some of the shit I say is just nuts, right? But it's funny how we mentioned Otani coming out of the bullpen, being a closer, having that kind of potential like stuff. And now you see guys like Pedro Martinez and all these other baseball guys, and I'm like, but they all looked at us like we were crazy out here.
Mm-hmm.
When we say stuff, I know sometimes we say stuff and it's a little bit too far, left sometimes. I hear that.
Especially when you haven't heard it yet, when it comes to like the mainstream world. And we're not there yet, but at the end of the day, that's a goal of ours, right? Like we want to be able to enter that world
For
where
sure.
something that we say is just as reliable as the rest of these guys and
For sure.
beyond, right?
No, but I also think you have to think of this. You have to think of stuff that sets you apart, right? So for example, like I think right now the Mets are one of the best teams in baseball, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I could see a scenario in which the Mets are looking up at the end of the year and it's a battle between them and Philadelphia. And I think ultimately, I just think Philly's experience, right, of knowing, yo, we've been here before, we get what it means. Like, what are you getting from a Clay Holmes down the stretch? He hasn't pitched this many innings. Paul Blackburn's pitching tonight as we're recording Monday night. He's making his first start of the year.
Right.
Like their starter have been amazing. I'm not discrediting it, but I'm looking at Philly and I'm going, damn, well, Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola,
Jesus Luzardo,
yeah, you got
Mm-hmm.
six Ranger Suarez. You got starters out here, and I'm just like,
They're up there in terms of being one of the best
you
rotations
know what
in
I'm
baseball.
saying? And I'm just like, if you can fix that bullpen, which has been Dave Dombrowski's bugaboo for as long as he's been in baseball, you're gonna have something to say. And the one thing I will tell you is the Dodgers are good. The Dodgers are a very good team. The one thing I'll say about the Dodgers that I haven't said in past years, if this rotation goes along with that bullpen, they're the best team in baseball.
That's true. Speaking of the Dodgers and their bullpen, I think they made a sneaky move. You know where I'm going. You know about this, Stefan. They made a deal for Alexis Diaz. For those who
Edwin
don't
Diaz's
know,
brother.
Edwin Diaz's brother. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, he's had a rough year, right? But one thing about Alexis Diaz is he's had a couple of seasons that actually I would say were really good for the Reds. And I think for the Dodgers to make that kind of move, I believe they see something. I think they believe in themselves to be able to unlock something in Alexis Diaz, to get him back or close to what he once was a year ago, 2 years ago for the Reds, as I mentioned.
For sure.
But boy, if they are able to help him get back to that or close to, as I said, look out. Because I know a guy like Tanner Scott hasn't really worked out for the Dodgers just yet. You shared that with me, Stefan. But that's why you go out there and you make this kind of move early, which I like that. They're not waiting. They're like, listen, if we can take care of something early on and still have the time to still go out there and do even more, then why not start now?
So I'll tell you this, and this is going to be a little bit off the beaten path, but I heard from somebody today, the Padres are looking at Jalen Duran from the Red Sox.
I heard that, yes.
They want to get a deal done, and AJ Preller, so if there's a deal to be had, he's going to make it, right? And I wonder if they look at Roman Anthony coming up and they're like, yo, how are we gonna fit all these outfielders out here? You got Anthony, you got Abreu, you got all these guys out here. How are we fitting this all out here? I think if you're a guy like AJ Preller who's uber aggressive, you do what you can to try and get that guy playing. By the way, look at that outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson Merrill. If you get Duran, then you get my goodness.
Tatis.
Yeah, no, that's it. But right now, you would have Jackson Merrill playing left field.
Right.
That's insane.
But I is this because and I don't know this, right? Like I know what you were talking about in terms of the Padres having interest, but is this because the Red Sox have Duran on the market? Like I thought Duran was a part of, what they were going to have moving forward, right? And I know we haven't seen the full product yet when it comes to the Red Sox because they still have guys in their system who haven't gotten called up to the big league level yet. But I was like, damn, I read that and it's like, wow, that's unfortunate. I thought Duran was going to be a part of their future.
Well, that's a good point. The question is like, how many outfielders can we fit in 3 spots? Roman Anthony's Roman Anthony, kid that's coming. He's an outfielder.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got Abreu. You got Rafaela. You got, you got outfielders. So I wonder if the Red Sox is just trying to take inventory. Like, yo, let's let them kick the tires and let's let them see what's what at the end of the day.
Also, too, if you are the Red Sox, right? Because it's possible. I read that these two teams have spoken to each other before about the same player. So this is not the first time they've spoken to each other about Duran. But I wonder what the Red Sox are looking for in return. Like, are you looking for someone who's currently on the roster at the big league level for the Padres? Because, the Padres have been open. It doesn't seem like they're really headed down this route anymore. But they have been open about wanting to get rid of a guy or two.
No, but here's the thing, though. Like, you're right there with the Dodgers. Like, they're only like 1.5 games back. So I don't know necessarily if they're going to tank the season, especially what's going on in Arizona. Corbin Burns underwent an MRI today. From what I hear, he might have dodged a maybe Tommy John-esque bullet.
He dodged the bullet. Yeah, I hope so. Because when I saw, first of all, he was dealing in that game. I think he pitched like 4 2/3. He had like 6 Ks, 1 earned. He looked perfectly fine. He looked like the Corbin Burns we all know, right? But then that's how fast, especially when you're a pitcher, that's how quickly things can go from, hey, I feel 100% to, holy cow, I just think I heard something.
No, it's, what's crazy is, so my cousin, we've been doing money lines because he's been like asking, like, yo, where do I go? By the way, starting next week, there's going to be a new segment on the show about money lines. So if you guys want to get a couple bets in, we're going to start doing that for you guys too. Because I had a couple people ask me, yo, why don't you guys do some money line specials? So we're going to have some money lines out for you guys next week. K's, overall, like, wins and all that type of stuff. So coming next week, I got to go.
All right. Listen, I would be ready for that. Before we do get to that point, though, I want to say in advance, nobody please fall into any addictions. Don't come back here in the chat and be like, oh, 27 outs got me started with that shit. Yo, listen, gamble at your own risk, I must say.
Listen, if you in New York, 1-800 gambler, you know what I mean? Hit the helpline. Wouldn't do.
No, but it's a real thing, though, bro. A lot of people, they get really caught up in this stuff and they lose themselves.
No, we're gonna just have some fun. Do some money lines, 27-ounce props. A couple of people have been asking. So
also, now that you did say that, before you continue, Stefan, any companies out there who are about that gambling life, reach out to us, man. Sponsorship. What's up? Sponsor the show.
Word up. We'll put some picks of props out there. You know what I mean? Right. But no, Corbin Burns, because my cousin had him at like 5.5 Ks. I was like, bro, he's gonna hit that in like the first 2 innings. He was filthy yesterday against Pittsburgh. Now, granted, it was the Nationals. He was disgusting. He had like 4 Ks in the second. I was like, all right. We're looking at like a 10 to 12 strikeout game. He was
Yeah.
dealing,
He
dealing,
left
dealing.
with 6. So had he not gotten removed, yeah, he would have
He
gotten there.
was dealing, dealing, dealing. And when I read his lips, I was like, yo, did he just say his elbow is done? Like,
Mm-hmm.
did you just like literally intimate? Yo, I think I just blew out my arm on the mound. Like, if you're a Diamondback fan, I would have fallen to my knees. I would have been crestfallen. I would have
Yeah.
been like, yo, I don't even want to watch a game till like 2028. Like, this is crazy. But he came back. He said he was okay. I mean, for the most part, he was okay and tightened up on him a little bit. But I did find something a little interesting though. He had these results at 5 o'clock in the morning, which is 8 o'clock New York time. To my knowledge, I don't know if those results have been made public yet.
Mm-hmm.
So the longer this goes, and the longer you start to realize, like, hold up now, they not announcing nothing, something, you know what I mean? The
It
longer
could
you
be
take with
something,
the
right?
multiple opinions, probably you talking to multiple doctor. Listen, man, you hope that he dodged the bullet, but when you start hearing like, yo, we're gonna get you an MRI, and then we're gonna when they scheduled it for 5 o'clock in the morning, that was a hold
Right.
up, hold
Mm-hmm.
it. You know what I mean?
I'm
Oh,
hoping for the best, not only for the Diamondbacks, but for Corbin
for
Burns,
him
right?
as
Like the
well,
fact
right?
that,
For him
he's going
as
to be
well,
there for some
for
time.
sure.
This
Mhm.
was his payday. And I like watching him pitch, right? Like I
For
want to
sure.
see him not only be who he can be for as long as he's been, but I want him to finally be able to do it for a contender, you know?
Well, now that we're on the Tommy John topic, Ronel Blanco, the Astros, is undergoing Tommy John. His season is over. AJ Smith Shawver of the Atlanta Braves, his season is also over. He tore his UCL. It's just how much more of these are we gonna hear about this year? Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm talking about you're talking about the premier guy. Ronel Blanco was filthy for the Astros last year, and it's just like, damn. They who dealt with it last year? Akiti dealt with it last year. Uh One of their other guys, Javier's coming back off of Tommy John. Like, they had a few guys get hit with the Tommy John bug last year. So it's
Right,
like,
right.
damn, like,
Even JV, Justin Verlander, when he was there.
right,
But see,
yes.
the thing about Verlander was he got the Tommy John and came back and won the Cy Young Award. There ain't
Like
too
a
many people doing
G
that
out
out here.
here. Like
That's
a
crazy.
G out here.
Right.
He came back out here like he had something to prove.
Right. I didn't even know that we were almost 30 minutes into tonight's show. So I want to take a moment to let everybody know who's watching right now. Thank you, of course. Make sure you go ahead and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. All three are the same at 27 outs 3C. And for those of you who are watching the only way right now, which is live via YouTube, please make sure to hit that thumbs up button and definitely subscribe, right? Because now we're on the go to 300.
Oh, look who's back. Yeah, what's up, bro?
Oh, King Cash, man, what's going on? Nice to have you back here. I remember seeing your name in here often.
Nah, I mean, what's up, man? How are you? Rockies won their 10th. We talking about that real brief.
Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna say something, and I want this to be very, very. I don't want this to be taken the wrong way. I wish Shrek was here, but I gotta ask one question. Kansas City Royals, what the hell took y'all so long? Do you see this guy, Jac Caglianone's numbers? You see this?
Yeah. So
What the hell?
to the Royals' credit, like I want to give him credit. I don't really think they wasted much time because for those who don't know, that's my sister. Shout out to her.
Hey,
For those who don't know, he was drafted last year. He was the
out of
6th
Florida.
overall pick, if I'm not mistaken.
Out of Florida, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And listen, I think fast forward to now, 1 year later, for him to be able to be where he's at now, which is a huge deal, right? That's not even normal. Like for you to go from A to Z in just 12 months, maybe a little less, a little more,
Like
maybe,
that. Yeah.
just around there. That means you more than likely are the real deal.
That
right?
kid's power is
So credit to the Royals for not doing what some of these other teams would do and keep a guy down there longer than they have to be,
No doubt.
especially in in I want to make sure I'm saying the name right, Jac Caglianone, right?
Yeah, yes,
Okay, because I don't know if he's Italian. It sounds very
yes,
Italian, but
yes,
I
yes.
want to make sure I'm saying the last name correctly, you know. But yeah, he's a guy who we have brought up on the show before, right? And he's finally here. And the fact that if he is, and I do believe he's going to be able to live up to the hype,
Mm,
if he is able to do that and more at the big league level,
that lineup,
times Bobby Witt Jr.,
that lineup, that
listen,
lineup.
I think the Royals are about to see something that they've never seen before.
Yeah,
Honestly,
that
Shrek, you're not here, but I hope somehow you hear this and you
yo.
come inside to
I'm
chat
gonna be.
us.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That lineup, if everything is what we think it can be,
Yeah,
you got Vinny Pasquantino, you got Jac Caglione, you got Bobby Witt, you got Kyle Isbell, you got a lot of these AJ Melendez. Some of these guys can really play, and if you hope that he's able to find his rhythm, because boy, you seen what he did last week. His first 4 games in AAA, he hit like 6 home runs.
yeah, he's a monster,
I
bro.
was like,
He's a monster.
geez,
He
man.
started the year in AA, played a few games there, raked obviously, played a few games. Yeah, literally, like right here. Let me pull it up. So he began the year in AA, played 38 games,
That's crazy.
320 batting average, on base percentage at 400, close OPS close to 1,000. Fast forward, he played about a week and a half at the AAA level, 319 OPS above 1,000, and now he's at the big league level. Like this dude is legit.
Freak.
And listen, he's a first baseman. You know, I feel like the last time the Royals even had a first baseman that came close to this was Eric Hosmer. Eric Hosmer had, some good years for the Royals, but
No doubt.
this kid's projection is beyond that, right? Like if you watch his swing, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. The power is insane.
But you know what I like though is the on base percentage.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about the power and all that, but the two things that stick out to me, because that shows me that you're a complete hitter, right?
He's got a good eye, right?
It's the batting average and the on base percentage. That means that you're not chasing just anything outside the strike zone.
You know what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you come to the big leagues, it's probably going to be a little different because then you got to deal with more spin, more break, more velocity. So it's a little different when you get to the big leagues. But if that's your starting point, if that's your foundation, that's a hell of a foundation that you're starting with. And I'm going to tell you this for the record. Florida is known for doing this. They're known for getting big leaguers, getting people to come to the big leagues. They're one of the premier schools in college baseball. So I'm not surprised they're doing this, right? And so that right there, that's just insane. Like
I believe because obviously, I had seen the highlights, of him being at the minor league level over the past couple of weeks. But earlier today, I was looking at some of the stuff that he did in college. He was a two-way player.
He was a pitcher too.
This dude was pitching, striking dudes out left and right in college and going yard all at the same time. Like he was a miniature Ohtani, but in college.
They compared him pitching wise. They say he was like a notch below Paul Skeens, but he was in that level there.
Crazy,
that is
man.
Nuts. If you're talking about trying to like emulate something now, that power, they're gonna stop you from even touching the rubber, bro. You're hitting balls to where they're not supposed to go. Listen, when you have the general manager of the Royals basically going, we don't want to rush him. We don't want to rush him. We don't want to rush him. But you see what he's doing. It's like, how much more can I keep him down there? I mean,
that's true. Like they didn't rush him, as you mentioned. But at the same time, when you're performing at the level that he was, what could you really do? And the Royals being a team that is on the come up, that is more than likely going to make the playoffs yet again this year.
No doubt.
And we've talked about it before, Stefan. The one thing that the Royals could do is pitch, right?
Yeah,
You've got your franchise player for the next decade plus in Bobby Witt Jr. And we've talked about them needing another bat. Now, if this kid comes up and he shows you exactly what he was doing at the minor league level, but now at the big league level, now you don't have to go out your way and get that bat because I think you might have called him up. It's going to cost you absolutely nothing. No lie. For real.
And the thing is, listen, I like how they're handling it. Hey, man, come up. Let's get your feet wet. You know what I mean? You're going to start on the road. You want to know who his first home series is against?
Who?
The Yankees. Next week.
Oh,
He would start his home slate against the Yankees at Kauffman Stadium.
I like that.
That's some special stuff, man. I mean,
Right.
listen, one thing I do know, and I was telling somebody this earlier today, I'm jealous of that kid. Because if I had the gifts to hit a ball that far and look that good doing it, Lord knows I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
And
mean?
it's so rare, especially for not just the position player, but baseball players, period, to make the big league level 1 year after getting drafted.
That's
1 year,
insane.
bro.
Just the thought of that being realistic. You remember when we were kids? I'm about to tell an old folks tale, but you remember when we were kids, how you used to hear about prospects, but they used to be in the minor leagues for about a good year, 2 years, getting seasoning. You heard about them, but you didn't see them as quick as you do now.
Right.
Like I feel like you hear about a kid, and people want him in the big leagues the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, you need to give these kids a chance to like develop. Because at the end of the day, how old is that young brother?
Let's see. He is 22.
That's insane.
Yeah, he was. Let's see. Yeah, 22 years old.
That's insane to know. First of all, I'm 22. I'm that young, and I'm about to be in the big leagues.
Right.
And if I perform,
the one thing that I really liked, because what Major League Baseball does now is they record these moments, right? Like they record when a manager speaks to a player, letting him know that he finally got the call up. See, me being a father now, this kind of hits differently. Prior to me being a father, it didn't really hit the same way. But now that I'm a dad myself, I have a 1-year-old, and I saw the clip of him actually being told, like, yo, you're going up there with the Royals to help them out. The first thing he said was, yo, I got to call my dad. It's like, damn, bro, don't make me shed a tear. I'm not even a Royals fan. You're going to make me cry. Because, I hear that, and it's like, wow, I can only imagine what his dad, used to do for him growing up when it comes to baseball.
See, but that's the beauty of, like, making the big leagues. Like, when I saw the video, I'm not going to lie, I did cry because I'm like, damn, bro, I think that would be me if I was in the big leagues. I got to call Pop Dukes. Like, he was the one in the garage with me, throwing me, batting practice and hitting balls off the tee and being there with me and getting the swing and, driving everywhere, between and they say moms are really the ones that, they get you up, they make you your lunch. But dad is the one that's out there grinding with you. All right, man, take 1,000 swings and, start to recognize the ball. And it's different. It's a special moment. I can't even imagine. I don't have children, but I can't even imagine if I did and my son made it to the big leagues, bro. First of all, I wouldn't even know how to talk. Like,
right. Like, wait, hold on. There's no way everything that we did for the past 20 plus years is paying off now.
It's amazing, man. So listen, cherish these moments. Like, this is what I'm gonna tell. And listen, if this kid gets off to a hot start, let's not make any comparisons to like Bo Jackson or Eric Hott. Like, let the kid be him. Let Jac Caglianone be Jac Caglianone. Can we not do is he better than Bo? Is he this or that? Is he, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I think that's a bit of a, like, you do the kid a disservice by doing that. That's just how I feel, me personally. It just feels as though, like, can we give the kid a chance to kind of like figure his way through?
Right.
Like, I don't understand the idea that you're gonna compare him. Oh, he could be this good, or he could be that good, or he could be. Why can't he just be him?
Right, the best version of himself. Right. Listen, I'll also say this one thing, and we're gonna get into the comments, guys. I know we haven't done that yet, but we're gonna finish this topic and then talk to you guys for a bit. But if you're Bobby Witt Jr., you got to be happy. You already know how long you're gonna be there. You're
If you're
basically
Bobby Witt
Batman. You
Jr.,
now have your Robin. It's like, yo, let's run Kansas City and the
yes.
rest of Major League Baseball wild. Let's do
Listen,
it.
if I'm Bobby Wood Jr., I'm picking this kid up at the airport. I'm bringing him to the best barbecue spot in Kansas City, and I'm telling him, "Yo, where do you want to stay?
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, you don't even get a chance. You're gonna stay at my crib. I got a guest bedroom. You good? You good with me? Stay with me for the rest of the year. If I'm Bobby Witt, I don't let that kid leave my side. Hey man, what you need? Car? Got you. Know a
Right.
dealer. You know what I
And
mean?
Bobby Witt, he's still young enough to the point where he could relate to him, right? Like it's not like Bobby Witt has already been playing 10 years himself. Bobby Witt only has a handful of years under his belt.
It feels like he's been in the big leagues 10 years with the stuff he's
Yeah, I mean, with the way not only how he hits, but just how he plays in general, right?
for sure. Yeah.
Speed, power, defense, he has it all. I mean, Bobby Witt Jr. is a 5'2" player.
No doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it. And it doesn't hurt that you got this beast coming up and be like, all right, bro, I'm here.
Yeah, I think in terms of their window and what they have, to look forward to, I think it might have gotten wider.
No doubt. No doubt
Yeah,
about
for
it. No
sure.
doubt.
All right, let's see what's
Let's get
going
to
on
these
with the chat
comments,
here.
man.
Yeah.
By the way, anybody want to show love? I want to show some quick love to Kyle Riley real quick because Kyle Riley is out here doing some yeoman's work in
That's true.
Seattle.
Yeah.
This
Finally,
dude,
Julio Rodriguez. He's got his guy.
he is out there killing right now. Shout out to the
I
big
have a
dog.
question, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but if he does continue, and obviously he's going to slow down, but if he's able to maintain, a little something,
Right.
do you think it's safe to say that he could end up finishing the season being considered as the best catcher in the game? Who knows?
I think that's I
Now,
think
defensively, there's probably some other guys who are better than him.
no, but I think if you talk about his offensive skill set and what he's
Right.
able to provide, because remember, he is a switch hitter, which is a
Mm-hmm.
lost art. You might have a conversation. You might have to have the conversation of is he the best offensive catcher in the game? Like that's a
Right.
fair point.
Yeah, he's got 23 home runs, 45 RBIs with an OPS above 1,000.
And he's gonna get beaten up because he's a catcher. So if he finishes with 40 and drives in 90 to 100 and finishes with an OPS just over 1,000 or maybe even 950,
Yeah.
you take it because he's gonna get beaten up. He's a catcher. Catchers can't usually sustain it for long periods of time.
Yeah.
The
So
beatings they take.
last season, he basically played the entire season, 153 games. He ended the season off with 34 homers and 100 RBIs.
So
I'm gonna go out there and say I think he ends this season somewhere at like 40 and like 110, 40 and like 115-ish around there. That's crazy for a catcher. Like at that point, you're reaching like, I don't want to make comparisons because I know you just finished saying that. But we're talking Mike Piazza, you don't really see catchers with power numbers like that,
You know what I'm saying? Like, and then also you start talking about like in the modern game, Yachty's good, but Yachty never hit like that.
No, not even Buster Posey.
Not
Buster Posey won an MVP.
Yeah, but Buster never hit. Like, if you got a guy, you start talking about Pudge Rodriguez, and you talking about them old school catches that did this from both sides of the plate with but he's unbelievable. He's single-handedly, him and J-Rod are single-handedly making sure you watch Mariners games on a nightly basis.
Right.
But it's crazy the amount of talent in the big leagues, bro. Like if you scour the amount of talent in baseball, bro, like just watching Fernando hit the other night. Like, yo, we don't talk about him on the East Coast because East Coast, by the time a Padre game starts, most people are ready to go to bed.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm locked in. Like, yo, this guy might go 4 for 4 with 2 homers, a double, and a triple.
Right.
Baseball's in a good place, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a very good place. And that's why we just got to embrace it for what it is right now.
That's true. Let's see. Rick says the Royals wasted zero time. Yeah, as they should have, man. I mean, why Why would you keep the guy down there, right? At that point, you would have had the fan base and then the rest of Major League Baseball looking at y'all like, the hell are you doing with him down there, you know? So shout out to them for calling him up.
We were looking at them like, what the hell are they doing with him down there?
Right. Who King Cash says who are World Series picks. So Dodgers. I got Dodgers, and right now, if I had to pick, I'll say Dodgers Tigers. I think the Tigers could change. Too. Tigers could end up being the Yankees. I could go back and just stick to the Tigers, but for now, the Dodgers are my favorite to come out of the NL. Yeah,
I got the Dodgers and I got the Tigers in the American League.
Right.
But I think the Tigers add another bat.
And that would be great for them.
I think the Tigers add another bat.
King Cash is calling him Robin already is crazy. You're right, bro. You're right. I am getting ahead.
But that's how the organization sees him, though.
Right. This is all projections, King Cash. I know, you don't want to, get ahead of yourself, which I know by me saying that, when he hasn't hit, a homer yet at the big league level, it's crazy to say. But again, when you think of projections and what he has been able to do at every level thus far, that's why I said it might be safe to say that the Royals and especially Bobby Witt Jr., may have their guy now moving forward.
Bobby Witt's like, please, bro, you waited too long. Where he at? You know what I mean?
Rick giving us an update right now as we do the show. Tigers are out here telling the White Sox they don't matter.
Yeah, so is the rest of the league. That ain't nothing new.
Speaking about the White Sox, and shout out to you, Rick. You did share that video with us in the chat. I don't want to get too into it because I don't think this guy really deserves the acknowledgement. But Kobe Mayo, I mean, are we serious? Like, if I were the Royals. And by the way, for those of you who don't know who Kobe Mayo is, he was recently called up by the O's. I think he's only been up for like less than 10 games, if I'm not mistaken. And the bench is cleared, in a game between them and the White Sox. And it's crazy because Kobe Mayo actually got a hit, right? So he hits it. And it looks like he was getting a little selfish where he tried to round first base, got caught up. And then I don't know why he did this. For those of you who haven't seen it yet, please go watch it. And then, feel free to share what you guys think about that in the comment section. I thought Kobe Mayo was crazy, bro. I thought it was absolutely stupid if you would have asked me. I thought it made no sense at all. And quite frankly, if I'm the Baltimore Orioles, I would have sent his ass back down forget about not knowing how to play. You don't know how to behave like a professional. What the hell are you out here not only pushing guys out of the way, but then they approach you because you put your hands on them first and foremost. So they check you like, yo, kid, what are you doing? You just got here yesterday and you trying to shove me out the way. And not just that, you kind of like shoved him again on some like, yo, get out of my face. Kobe Mayo, what the hell do you think you are? For real. Like, I don't know how the rest of you felt, but how'd you feel after watching that, Stephen? Because I was like, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing?
I'm not even going to blame him for that. There's no veteran leadership on the team.
True.
That's exactly what that shows me.
And they might be just as bad as the White Sox. Slightly better. And saying slightly is not saying much.
What it is I just think that shows, number one, a lack of character on his part. Because it shows that you don't appreciate where you are in the moment and who you're playing for and what your job is.
Right.
But number two, how does somebody in the clubhouse not pull him off the field and go, yo, you're not playing for the rest of this game? In fact, you're probably not playing in the big leagues for the rest of the year. Right.
Yeah. I know some people may disagree. And you said it earlier, Stephen. On this show, we tend to say some outrageous things. But bro, I'm sorry to say this. Kobe Mayo, I understand you're a professional baseball player, but you're no one to be doing things like that at the big league level. I'm sorry.
No, but it shows. You just said he's a professional baseball player. This is where me and you disagree. To be a professional baseball player, you have to show professionalism.
True.
And he did not show any professionalism. So what it shows me is, number one, there's a real problem in Baltimore because you're letting the inmates run the asylum, right? And number two, I'm trading him just off of that. Not only you not playing in the big leagues this year, but you're not playing for this organization ever again.
Yeah.
Because if we're trying to foster a culture of being professional, of being, especially when we're struggling, you want guys to come to the ballpark every day feeling like, you know what, we'll get through this, but we're going to do it the right way. When you sit there and putting your hands on somebody and letting them, or basically telling them, get the hell out of my way, first of all, who the hell are you? And second of all, what it shows me is that there is a lack of professionalism and accountability all throughout that organization. That's what it shows. And if I'm being too judgmental and too harsh, well, Oriole fans have already eaten me alive in the comments. I'm here for the smoke. Come bring it. I want more with y'all. I'm here. We outside. Come see me.
Shout out to the Orioles fans who keep tabs with us on TikTok. You know,
what
we
I'm
appreciate
saying?
it.
And it's just that's all that shows is a lack of professionalism, man.
I mean, listen, maybe this is saying a little too much, and this is probably going to the furthest extent. But he's lucky, you know. Had it been somebody else, he didn't get punched in the face.
He didn't get knocked the fuck out.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he could have easily got Tim Anderson, like on some. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, yo, you just don't do those things out here. And listen, he's 23 years old. I don't want to, you know, cut him any slack at all.
Nah,
because you just should. There's a zero tolerance, I would say, for stuff like that, especially and also, where you're at.
You put your teammates in a bad spot because now we got to defend your bullshit,
right? For no reason.
And what if Jackson Holiday wears one in the ribs or the back? Or Gunnar Henderson has to wear one in the ribs or the back because of your bullshit.
Right.
You lucky you ain't get fucked up in your own clubhouse.
They're not playing today, right?
No.
I want to say this, right? So they're obviously going to play. They're going to play tomorrow. But what I want to say is honestly, if he's in the lineup tomorrow when the Orioles play again, I don't even want to talk about Baltimore anymore.
Nah, you know what, King Cash? Fuck all that. Fuck all that.
Nah, King Cash. How you gonna say let's relax, bro? You don't do stuff like that.
Because what it shows you is, so what does that show the rest of the team? So let's relax and it'll be fine. You gotta handle yourself with professionalism.
And King Cash, to I'm sorry, you know, I have to. I'm not a big fan of what you just said, but you got guys who are younger than him who know damn well not to do something like that. Let's be honest, King Cash. You know, and it's not like Kobe Mayo is the guy who the Orioles are probably banking on trying to turn out to be this superstar in the making. The guy, he effed up. Listen, and he did something that he shouldn't have. Don't hit me with he's 23. Because if I was 23 doing that, I want people to hold me accountable.
See, but it's not one mistake because what it shows you is this is where I think you're misunderstanding.
And also, King Cash, why are you so against that? Who is he? Who's Kobe Mayo, bro? Tell me. Sorry, but who is he?
What have you first? Yeah, I like that, but also too, you don't give a fuck about your teammates. That's essentially what that says to me. Is you don't give a fuck about your team. It's not that he's young and he'll learn. Right. You're putting your teammates in danger. So now the next time something like that happens and you pop off, what happens?
Right.
Now they're gonna want to go after Gunnar. Now they want to go after, Jackson Holiday. Now they're gonna want to go after my Ryan Mountcastle. Now they're going after one of my guys now, all because you couldn't fucking keep your mouth shut.
I mean, listen, another thing I want to say, King Cash, is this too. And I hope you're not going anywhere. And by the way, thank you for watching the show, bro. You know, as I mentioned, it's been a while since we saw your name here in the chat. So thank you first and foremost. But I also want to say this. Look at the Rafael Devers situation. He's not putting his hands on anybody. He's just telling the Boston Red Sox and the rest of Major League Baseball is, I just want a DH. I don't want to play third. I don't want to play first. I just want a DH. And you have people out here, not only within the Red Sox organization, but fans, people around the game, literally thinking about like, yo, we might have to move on from this guy at some point because of, him not wanting to be a team player. You're telling me a 23-year-old kid who hasn't even done a lick at the big league level Like we should just be okay with what he's doing. Nah, man, he could leave. He could leave.
Also, here's the other thing. You want to know what's funny? Guess who got spotted with a glove on his hand at first base today?
Was it Devers? I didn't hear about that, bro. I gotta look into that now that you brought it up after the show. But so what's going on? Damn, man, I wish we had TD in here or Sox fan for life, because that would have been good. But I didn't hear about that.
I saw the picture today on Twitter. I was like, after all that shit, who's sitting at first base with a glove on his hand?
Damn, man. It would be crazy if at the end of the day he does somehow.
That's why none of these athletes, bro, I hear them talking. It's like, yo, for real, bro? You did all that hooting and hollering and all those different shenanigans about how I'm upset and all this other shit, but you standing at first base with a glove on your hand, my boy.
Right.
And he's looking like he getting ready to field the position. Yo, if I'm the Red Sox, bro, I'm sitting there like, yo, you word? You want to show your ass and then you want to be out here like you actually doing something?
It's like the guy who at the end of the day, you know he wants to be in a relationship, right? Because of his actions. But at the same time, his actions kind of like go against wanting to be in a relationship. Exactly. But then he always ends up running back to the same girl at the end of the day. So it's like, yo, my boy, just stop the games, right? Just you want to be in a relationship, go be in one. For real.
I mean, at that point, it makes sense when you put it in that kind of perspective. But the Red Sox also messed this up too. Let me just say this for the record too. Quick aside. I'm tired of people who look at these athletes and think because they make so much money, they're above being criticized.
They do act like that sometimes, especially with the media.
No, but the media also acts like that too. In the sense of, you have a lot of Red Sox, on the TV and all they're shielding him. Devers and all, you know what I mean? Like, he was promised something, but man, fuck all that.
Right.
If you can't be accountable for your actions, or if you don't feel like you need to be accountable for your actions, I have the right to tell you you're not being accountable. I have the right to criticize you and say, yo, this is wrong.
As the employer, right.
And so I just feel like people just get shit too twisted, because at the end of the day, he's only hurting you. You're not hurting him.
Right.
He's hurting you, because guess what? His check clears at the end of every, you know what I mean?
That's true. So King Cash, you brought up a good point here. Chad, what's good, bro? Nice to see you here.
What's going on, bro?
I showed that by mistake, but I'm glad you're here. He says Devers needs media training. So I have a question. Thank you for bringing this up, Cash, because now you just opened up a can of worms that I think we never got into here on the show. And I think now is a good time.
Right.
Has media training, and the answer is probably no, right? But has media training ever been at any point? It doesn't have to be now. It could be back then, 15, 20, 35 years ago, whatever the case may be. Has media training in sports ever been a thing? I don't recall ever
hearing
about it.
It is.
Is it a thing still, though? And the reason why I say that before you go, Stefan, I want to compare it to music. Nowadays, you hear a lot of artists, older dudes, guys who've been doing this for 15, 20 plus years.
Right.
They say a lot of artists who come out today, they don't know how to do these sit-down interviews. They don't know how to speak properly. They don't know how to do this. Yep. They don't know how to show up and look like they want to actually be there. So I wonder, with that happening in the music industry, is that something that is also happening with sports too?
The reason why it's a little harder now is because everybody has a Twitter and Instagram account.
Everybody has a voice, their own voice.
Their thoughts are unfiltered because they can just type a message out and that could be what the fuck they think. Right? Where the media is more of a nuisance now than actually getting your thoughts, getting something out. Where you could type it yourself. The problem is none of these organizations are willing to sit down and say, yo, you got to talk to us. You got to
Right.
let them know what you're thinking, because we didn't have none of these extra mediums where they could come out and say, "Yo, I have something I want to say. Let me sit down with the media and get this off my chest." Now it's like, "Yo, let me send this tweet out. Let me send this IG story out because I'm pissed off."
Right? Yo, could you imagine if, and I don't think we've gotten to this point yet. I do think that it may happen. It could be 5 years from now, 10 years, 15 years, whatever the case may be. But could you imagine there being an athlete on some Kanye, like, let's say Devers, like, yo, he puts out a tweet like, F the Red Sox, and you can't do a damn thing.
No, there is. His name is Antonio Brown.
Well, that's why he's out of a job, though, right? Like, I don't even think teams are even looking his way anymore.
All right,
I mean, I don't watch football, but you know.
No, I'm saying it's Antonio Brown. Same shit.
He was out there wilding like that.
You know what I mean? Aubrey Huff.
Well, Aubrey Huff was after the fact, though. Aubrey Huff, he knew better than to do that during his career.
No,
but also, too, back when he was playing, social media was still relatively new. And it still is to a certain extent. There's just so many different platforms.
John Rocker, David Wells. These guys didn't have the greatest media trainings.
Right.
David Wells would tell you, "I'm going to the bar, get fucked up. My employer can't do nothing about me getting fucked up because I'm going to come back out here. I'm going to throw 7 innings and we're going to be all right."
Yo, you know what's funny? I was watching, and I hate to get off topic here, but I think it does relate. So I was, I think about a week or two ago, I was watching Draymond Green. He was on some show there, and he was talking about some of the best games that he's played in his career was being hungover. And he was talking about like these moments in his career, because obviously he's still playing, right? But I guess this was back when he was younger, probably when the Warriors were thriving and everybody had to go through them before you even wanted to make any type of noise. He was talking about just having these outrageous games in a good way, being hung over. And it's crazy because these are things that, you know, people could just say it. And nowadays, I guess it's not that big of a deal. But guys were doing this for a living back then, bro. No. And nobody knew a damn thing until now that they're older. Like, you see all these documentaries come out, and it's like, yo, this player won the Cy Young Award, and he was coked out for like half the season. It's crazy.
It's crazy, bro. It's
show the comment, bro. Show the comment. We could, because we're an hour in, so we only got a few minutes left before we're out.
Fair point.
Right.
Fair point. I'll concede that, but I don't necessarily believe. See, for me, it's like I just think that we have to be. I think all situations are a little bit different. Juan Soto's never shown his ass like that.
True.
Where he shoved somebody out the way and tried to get into some type of scuffle. Like, this kid was ready for smoke. Like, you could have fucking affected the whole team.
Right.
That's where it's different. We're just talking about Juan Soto not playing on the field. Juan Soto hasn't done anything that's deconstructive to the Mets other than maybe not getting in not showing the most emotion.
Right.
To me, this is where it's a little bit it's different, man. I think also with the Devers thing, the media fanned the flames on that too. Because the media is like they're taking sides. Do we believe the Red Sox or do we believe him? Do we blame Cora or do we blame him?
Yeah, and I think early on, like when we first started hearing about this stuff, Cora was kind of like, you know, taking Devers' side, like, oh, you know, he's our guy, he's this. But recently, I kind of feel like he's taking a step back, and he'll flat out like not even mention Devers, right? He'll mention other guys who could probably fill in while not mentioning Devers at all, which is how you really want to go about it, right? Because if you're the manager, you know, you don't want to hear Devers saying one thing, the Red Sox saying another thing. Right. Here's Alex Cora saying the third thing. So it's like, the hell is this? The Three Stooges? Somebody make up their mind.
Yeah, and that's kind of where hold on. That's fair. That's a fair criticism. Hold on. And to be transparent, I don't. I would agree with you.
The criticism towards Kobe Mayo is because when it comes to Juan Soto, listen, whether you think he deserves it or not is up to you. But I think at the end of the day, we can all agree and say that it could be a little too much. In the case of Kobe Mayo, I think he deserves all the smoke coming his way.
Yeah, because you're young. Like Juan Soto's built enough equity in the game where he can do certain things that a young kid just trying to find his way can't do. Is it a double standard? Yes, it's a double standard. We live in a world full of double standards. Juan Soto's going to the Hall of Fame. Kobe Mayo just got here 2 days ago.
Right.
It's very different. Like, it's very different.
He
like,
just stopped drinking milk.
right. You just stopped sucking on your mom's titty like yesterday, my boy. You know what I mean?
Yo.
So, it's like, yo, we're not the same, bro. Like,
right.
I won a championship. I've done everything that you want to do.
True.
Like, yes, all players should be criticized, but like champions get criticized differently because they're champions. When it's October and the game's on the line, Juan Soto has shown you all that other bullshit about how I don't run hard, how I don't love the game, how I'm lazy. Yo, Evan Gaddis, this guy Gaddis is still thinking about that home run he gave up in the championship series last year.
What's that saying? All that other bullshit is here today and gone tomorrow?
Gone tomorrow, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, boy. All right, one final reminder before we chat with you guys a little more before we go. We are already at the 1 hour mark.
Hello!
Shrek, what's going on, bro? I mentioned to you earlier today. Glad that you're here. We're going to chat for a few more minutes. But, we already got into what I'm sure you were looking forward to. Make sure you go back and check that out whenever you have some time. But again, before we chat with the rest of you, and now that Shrek is here, you too, bro. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at 27outs3c. And Shrek, now that you're here, bro, I'm sorry to single you out, but you better hit that like button because we know you're here. And for the rest of you who are still here, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and definitely subscribe, man, because listen, you guys helped us reach 200 subscribers on the last show, and we're on the road to 300 now. So help us get there.
Hold on. You know what? But Kobe had won championships to treat his teammates this way. Michael Jordan won championships to treat his teammates this way. Like, there is a double standard. When the champions do it, we can't tell them nothing because they're champions.
Right.
Like
Jeter, too, was somewhat of an asshole as well. Like with the way, he would actually respond to certain things.
Right.
And I don't think it was ever from the standpoint of being disrespectful, but it was really on some yo, this is what it is, right? Obviously we do this for a living, but we are also winners. Like, this is what we want to do. And if you're not a winner, then sorry for you. I think that was their approach.
This is an interesting quote right here. We're putting a lot of pressure on Cags.
Ooh, Shrek. Yo, now that you say that, tell us why, bro.
Wow. All right.
Tell us why. We could spend some time because listen, for those of you who don't know, Shrek is a Royals fan himself.
From KC, yeah. Shout out to you.
So why not?
What's the vibe? What's the vibe out there? Is it like the savior coming home to save the season, or is it what are we looking at right now? Because I'm very curious about, from a Royal fan perspective, how does that look?
Right.
As Kobe Mayo had a tiny talent, I would care, but the public, most people wouldn't. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
We don't care that Ohtani don't talk to the media unless he starts a game.
Right.
But we don't care because he's Shohei and he's great. And
you know what? Actually, Rick, we might have to come back to this, right? I'm gonna show it again. Because a few minutes ago, you heard Stephen say he wants all the smoke with the Baltimore Orioles fans. And for those of you who follow us on TikTok, you would know exactly what he was referencing. But I'm going to make sure I go ahead. And as you guys know, right, we spend off days here sharing clips. And for those of you who are watching right now, you get to see it all first. So there's nothing for you to actually see other than what other people are saying on the other platforms. But yeah, I'm going to clip that up and we'll see how the Orioles fans are feeling, whether it be here on YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram. So we'll get back to that, Rick.
So he's trying to line. You see him? He's trying to line me up out here.
No, bro. You know I don't put anything out there on some purposely stuff, right? I put out what makes the most sense, and yo, that's how we rock out, you know. I'm not gonna purposely like pull something because I want them to antagonize.
I'm joking.
But I mean, the way they reacted on that one post was like as if we didn't know what we were talking about. And as I mentioned, you guys are slightly better than the Rockies and the White Sox.
You, bro. All right, cool. It's cool.
Damn. It's cool. So King Cash, are you saying that there should be shots fired?
It's cool. Because I got a bazooka back here. It's all right, though, my boy. We fight back. Really hope this doesn't mess up his progression. Like, he's been crushing it in the minors.
Right.
Does he really expect the kid to put offense on his shoulder? That's a very fair point.
Yeah, that is a lot. I could hear you, especially if right away they're expecting him to, be one of the best hitters in that lineup, right? And we all know where it comes from. It's because of what he did at the college level, what he's done at, the A level, double A, triple A, as far back as you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely get your point for sure. But Shrek, you weren't here for this, but like you said, Stefan, this would be a great time for Bobby Witt Jr. to, listen, here's what it feels like to be here. Yeah. If you get off to a rough start, don't worry about it. I might be able to teach you a thing or two, and I just hope you make the best out of it.
And like what I would do if I'm the Royals, I'm putting him in like the 6-7 hole. Like, just this. We're not putting you in the 3-4 hole right away.
Right? 3, 4, or 5. Like,
right.
Chill.
Nah, like we putting you maybe 7, maybe 6, 7, maybe even 8.
Mm-hmm.
Let you kind of get your footing. Because you're talking about, like, Royals fans, as soon as they see this, brother, it's going to be, you ever seen the music where it goes, oh? Come on, they see this, right? It's going to be like the Savior came home, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, hold up, man. Give the kid a chance to, like, figure it out. It's like when the Yankee fans did this with Dominguez last year. It's like a couple years ago. It's like, just let him go through his process, man. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Jackson Holiday. You remember when Jackson came up last year? Everybody was watching every at bat, and I believe he went like 0 for 20, his first 20 at bats in the big leagues, and then they sent him down, and then they brought him back up, and he kind of found his way. But
when it comes to Jackson Holiday, and listen, I'm not trying to say anything about his father, right? We all know who his father is. And was when he did play baseball, Matt Holliday. But I think that being his father does play a role because his dad was one hell of a player, bro. Like, look at Bronny James. He can't even breathe properly without the media being, on his back.
Yeah, which is nuts.
Right.
That's insane. You see it with a couple guys in the big, like, I think Vladdy went through it early on because his father's Vladimir Guerrero.
Yes.
So we had like crazy expectations for him. It's the same thing with all the child prodigies are kind of put in an unfair situation of, can this kid live up to the hype? Can he be as good as his dad?
And there's another holiday on the way actually too, right?
And they say he's better than Jackson.
That's crazy. That's crazy, man.
They say he's better than Jackson, and he might be the best Holiday. He might be they say at his age he was better than his dad.
That's crazy because his dad was the real deal.
His dad was no joke.
His dad played well for the A's. His dad played well for the Rockies. His dad played well. I think he played with the Cards. Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. His last year was with the Yankees. I remember his last year with the Yankees. If he hadn't gotten sick, I think he was going to hit 25 home runs that year. I remember he hit a walk-off against the Orioles, funny enough. And I was like, damn, we getting like the last great year of Matt Holliday. Like, it's
right. So I have a random question before we go because we are over the 1 hour mark.
Sure.
But I was thinking about this yesterday. Now that we have, a lot more eyes on the channel, as I mentioned, for those of you who don't know and you just got here, May was huge for us. Overall, we got to 18,000+ views on the channel, which is 6,000 more than the previous month, which was 12,000 in April. So just to kind of like paint a picture for you guys on what's happening here. Obviously, credit to you guys, of course, because without you guys, that wouldn't be happening. But I want to ask you, How do you guys watch the show? Like, do you kind of like just put it on and run some errands, wash dishes, wash your clothes, or do you guys genuinely? Because I know some of you like Rick. Rick, a lot of times he's working, right? He's straight out of City Field watching 27 outs. Shout out to you, bro, for always doing that. But for the rest of you, what are you guys doing? Like, I was just curious. Like, I wonder if people actually sit down to watch, or are people just like running around again to,
Wow, Lindor led off the game against the Dodgers with a homer.
Frankie Lindor, I'm telling you, man, National League MVP.
Wow.
I'm gonna run this back later. National League MVP. Otani, you getting hot, you getting warm, but Frankie Lindor is getting hot. So we'll see how it ends. Yeah, we spoke about him tonight as well, Shrek. He's doing some crazy things. I have him finishing, as I mentioned earlier, like 40 and like 110, 40 and 115 around there.
You do that 40 and 115. That's MVP candidate status.
True.
Like I know we we crown and judge, but Kyle Riley might come and you say who MVP? All right, hold that.
Right.
Hold that.
Also, too, what I think would help him is where the Mariners finish. Towards the end of the season, like if it's going to be something that is going to be a serious conversation for him to be a part of, not only his performance, but I think where his team ends up also is going to matter as well.
For sure. Speaking of things ending, as King Cash says, Lindor's an animal. You know what I mean? He's an animal. Chris Bubich, Cy Young looking real good. All right, yeah.
It's possible, bro.
Before we end, I will say this. Since the Knicks are not in the finals, there will be a second 27 ounce this week. I gotta talk to and see what's what. But I just want to say something for the record. This is good. I hope the Indiana Pacers give OKC a series, because I already told you what I thought. If the Knicks were OKC, it was curtains. But good. For what I will say is this though, like I'm at the point now where I'm kind of glad it ended where it did, because watching these last few games, it was less fun. It was more aggravation.
Right.
15 turnovers, not taking care of the ball, playing sloppy. Like
they just didn't look like the same team from the first 2 rounds. Yeah.
And so what I'm gonna say is, while everybody says Tom Thibodeau's job is quote unquote safe, I'm going to be the guy that says I don't think that's entirely true.
Right. I mean, I would think that I could be wrong. I'm not a Knicks fan, Stefan, but you have a better perspective of this. But I would think Jalen Brunson would have a say so in that, right? At least.
Yeah. So does James Dolan.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So like we get it, but you waited too late to adjust, and Indiana they ran up in that. They ran these boys out the gym.
I wonder if they could somehow end up with like listen, I'm not saying the best sixth man in the NBA, but a guy who's a legitimate sixth man. Maybe they don't do that, right? But I would like to see that for sure. Like a genuine spark plug, somebody who's gonna come off, give you like maybe 15 to 20 minutes, but within those 15 to 20 minutes, he's gonna score like 10 plus with no problem.
I'd like that. Because it means less.
Nowadays, yeah.
It means less than
I feel like today they focus more on ERA, not even innings pitched, because I think a guy with like 70 innings could win the award over somebody who's got like crazy. 200, right?
Yeah, that's insane. Remember, Jake won it a couple years ago. DeGrom won it, and he was at like 180.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So innings don't matter either.
Yeah, like I remember even to go further back, like King Felix Hernandez.
Yeah.
Like he was dominating and he didn't have all the wins in the world, for the Mariners. So
no, yeah, you're right. You're right.
But listen, I've got nothing else to say.
I'm out.
I enjoyed the hell out of, I must say, out of tonight's show. We're gonna keep this momentum going forward. So shout out to all of you guys for helping us get to where we are right now as I speak. But I'm good, man. Thank you yet again. We are kicking off the month of June. I think, we're starting off on the right note. Stefan, anything else you want to say? If not, I'm good.
I'm good, brother. We ain't got to go home. We got to get the hell up out of here. So peace.